Good evening, everybody. I'm sitting kind of funny. I don't think I did myself a favor by going into work today. Getting in the truck really hurt, and I've been really sore the rest of the day. So I can't sit up straight real good. So, anyway, but it's not going to stop me from getting on here because several reasons, but one of the main ones is it's what I like to do, and I am so bored sitting around the house. I have my work computer, my phone. I'm working from home, but it's not the same, and so it's driving me crazy. Um, I'm just limited what I can do, so it's driving me crazy. So I thought I'd get on here and make this clip, and I'm going to try and keep it 10 minutes so I can post it up in my IGTV. Earlier on, I had talked about telling some stories that I've learned from my dad, because a lot of where I come from, probably a lot of where most of us come from, we come from the way we was raised, right? So, but anyway, I just wanted to say that I am so tired of seeing all the negative bullshit on all of the social media avenues. So I'm going to put up positive stories in my IGTV, and they're there for people to watch them, the people that want to watch positive stuff. Am I concerned about the votes and this and that and all that? Yes, I am, very. But I'm not going to change the things that have happened. And so what I'm not going to do is work myself up into a freaking tizzy fit, freak out over something that I have no control over and I cannot change it. There's nothing I can do to change what they did on vote day. Okay? So I'm not going to get all worked up about it. So I'm going to post some positivity. For the people that want to watch the positivity can watch it, and they don't have to just see, because if you open up, I stay off of Facebook mostly, but I've started getting back on there a little bit. I do have a Helmet Talk channel over there that I have severely neglected. So I've been kind of getting on there a little bit, but I hate opening Facebook because the first thing I see and the whole thing I see is it's just negative. It's, negative against our president, negative against this, that, the voting, they're doing this, they're still, is it a corrupt, crooked system? Goddamn rights, I believe with every bone in my body that yes, it is, and yes, that stuff's going on. We need to do what we can to change it, but worrying about it after the fact and throwing fits, it just doesn't work for me. So anyway, I could get off on that all day. I used to be that guy, and I'm not. So I'm going to tell a story tonight about something that I learned from my father, and it's a pretty powerful story, and it involves some neighbors that we had when I was growing up. We lived in a small trailer house for a lot of years when I was just a little kid. We moved to Wyoming in 1972, and work was very hard to come by back in those days. My dad had a college degree and everything and couldn't even get a job in his college degree. He was working at the mines out by Camas, Utah. Those mines closed their doors, and there was all these guys with brand new, young guys with new families and whatnot out of work. Well, the mines from up in Wyoming were there that day recruiting, right? Because they had opened all these soda ash, trona mines up in the Green River, Wyoming area. So they were there recruiting all these guys. So several of the guys took jobs, and we all moved to Wyoming, and my parents are from the Heber City, Utah area. And so most of the people there were from that area between Park City and Heber City, right? Well, I was 7 years old when we moved to Wyoming. I claim Wyoming as my birthright, my home. You know, I really wasn't born there, but man, I grew up there. So, you know, Wyoming's all I know as far as growing up and stuff. But, so anyway, we lived in this trailer because I think my dad told me they were making like $3.50 an hour is what they offered them, and all these guys jumped on these jobs and moved, right? Because they didn't have any work. And this was in 1972, 71, 72, somewhere in there. I'm not sure how long Dad worked there before we moved, but we moved in 72. So we go there and we live in a small trailer for quite a while. Well, eventually we get to the point where we buy a house, and it was over by the elementary school in the small town that I grew up in called Lyman, Wyoming. Well, very small. Anyway, we moved into this house. We had some neighbors behind us, our fences bordered, and they were a rough and rowdy bunch. It was probably, you know, looking back, I don't really remember, I was pretty young, but looking back, it was probably a bunch of oil field workers, because the oil field was coming around back then, probably a bunch of roughnecks. They were real rowdy, bunch of guys. There was probably several of them living in one house to pay the rent, right? Well, they partied hard on the weekends. I'm sure they worked hard on their off days. They partied hard. They were rowdy. There was a lot of shenanigans going on over there. And it was kind of a scary deal for us. We was just a young family, little kids, and, you know, my parents and stuff. So anyway, we just kind of minded our own business. Well, my dad would work really hard to go and cut firewood and we had a firewood bin back there in the corner of the yard that we would keep. He would fill up with firewood during the summer. We'd work all summer, so I grew up working. If I wasn't weeding the garden, mowing the grass, we was up cutting firewood, splitting firewood, stacking firewood, right? So we had to work as kids. We didn't get to go play. We played a little bit when the work was done, but work always came first. And so we would fill this bin full of firewood. We'd spend all summer filling it up, and then it would heat our house through the winter time, right? Because it was cold, and winter where we lived was 9 months long, if not longer. Our riding season, that was optimal riding season, was 2 to 3 months. So you're gonna see me, I'm digging through my old pictures, and you're gonna see me posting some stuff in the snow and whatnot. But if we didn't ride in the snow, we didn't ride a lot. So we did a lot of that. But back to the story, I get off track. I got many, and I'll tell many throughout this period where I'm stuck here and I can't go out and ride and stuff. I gotta come up with content, so we're gonna go backwards. So anyway, my dad noticed that his firewood kept disappearing from the back side up, and the people across the fence were obviously stealing his firewood, right? And had they just asked him, he'd have gave it to him, because that's who my dad was. But they didn't, so instead they stole the firewood. And he didn't say anything. He let it go and let it go. And we would get halfway through the winter, and we would meet where they had been, and the firewood would be gone, and that would be that for that year, right? And so next summer we would start in the spring. As soon as you could get up in the hills, you had to wait until you could get up there. Sometimes it was midsummer, so we didn't have a lot of time that we could get all this firewood, because you had to wait for the snow to come off. And the snow up there is tens of feet deep. That's huge, so it takes a while. So and then we'd build it back up again. Well, I don't remember how many years this went on, but it might have been 1, it might have been 2, and so my dad, instead of saying anything, throwing a fit, calling the police, or doing anything, he just figured they needed the wood, they needed the heat too, you know. So he shared his firewood with them unwillingly, or he would have been willing, but they didn't ask, right? So they were stealing it, basically. Well, what my dad did how he handled that situation was the next spring when we started getting firewood, we'd go get a load of firewood and bring it home. He would go get a load of firewood. He'd drop us kids off at home because he didn't want us over there because it was a shady deal. But anyway, he would drop us off and he would go over there, he'd back up, go pound on the door. Thought you could use some firewood. Where would you like it stacked? I'll stack it for you. And would unload a load of firewood for them, stack it where they wanted it, and we'd go get us a load. We'd come home, we'd stack it. We'd go get a load, he'd go over there, tie onto their load and stack it. So we were doing double the work, right? Well, I'll tell you what, it kind of tears me up a little bit. It was pretty cool deal, but those people never stole from us ever again. And it was like I said, it was just a party, rough place. And all that it didn't go away and stuff, but they became more respectful and whatnot. I mean, there'd be naked people running around the backyard, and I'm sure it was a lot of drugs and alcohol, right? And you know, thinking back, it probably was a bunch of roughnecks, and they were rig workers, and they'd work so many days and then get so many off, and they just partied hard. But you know, the moral of the story is that Dad got them firewood. Instead of filing charges for theft and doing all that, it's not who my dad was. So, you know, us kids learned in the process. I'm the only boy, I got 3 sisters, but we all learned. We were all very, like, giving, you know, and we grew up doing that. And in doing all that, the people would speak if they ran into you. There was only one little store there, so you'd run into people and they'd speak, you know, and stuff. And I'm not going to say it became a friendly friends or anything like that, but a friendly situation. And just all I got to say about it. Depending on how you handle certain situations, you know, the outcome can go in many different ways. And, you know, Dad could have done something different, and we don't know, but the outcome might have been different. But how he chose to handle it, everything worked out fine, and everybody was happy. And you know, I guess it probably opened their eyes, and they never touched his firewood again, ever again. And so, you know, sometimes just being the bigger person goes a really long ways. I've gone over my time. I'm not going to be able to post this, so it'll be up for 24 hours. I get talking and I get carried away, so I'm not going to be able to post it on my IGTV. I hate that they only give us 10 minutes, but I'll put it up. It'll be on YouTube, so if anybody wants to watch it again or share it or hasn't got the chance to see it, it'll be on YouTube. It'll be here for 24 hours because Instagram will keep it in my storyline for 24 hours and then they'll delete it. But I'll put it on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. You guys take care and spend some quality time with your family. Enjoy your time. Peace.